Hi, this is Elena Snyder with the Kick Cancer Club, and I am at the 45th Annual Cancer Control Convention, and I have Dr. Vikki Hufnagel with me. Did I get your name right?
You got it right. You got it right. Horseshoe nail is what it means.
Horseshoe nail. Well, I'm a horse lover, so I absolutely love your name. Tell me a little bit about your background, Vikki.
Well, I'm a 60s girl, and I grew up and I wanted to be a scientist, and I was very much a nerd. So I would read the sci-fi books and Star Trek, and I was always in the lab at school, and I wanted to be a doctor. I saw a video about Albert Schweitzer, and then I started studying about his life, and I wanted to be a doctor.
Okay, I don't know who Albert Schweitzer is.
Well, everybody should know, so
Okay.
we're going to teach him.
Okay.
He was a remarkable doctor, and he went to Africa, to the Congo, and when doctors, like, who cares about what's going on in the Congo? And he built his life on helping the very poor there, a very difficult, terrible situation. So he was spiritual, and what was the most important thing about him was the concept of reverence for life. And he still needs to be bigger than ever today, because we need to have reverence in all the work we do, as physicians, as people.
And how does reverence play a role in your professional life as a doctor?
I'm not so much interested, I have to be honest, I'm very competitive. So I became a surgeon. I was the only girl in my class who went into surgery, and everybody just thought it's too tough, too hard. Well, it was tough and it was hard, but I'm competitive, nerd who's competitive. So I wanted to be able to do what the boys did. I didn't want to be left out. And so I learned how to be really good, and I could draw and sculpt and do all these things. So I looked at this, I go, wow, I got small hands. I have a one-up on those guys. So I can be more able to do more with my hands, and I did. So I wanted to be a surgeon, and I did that. And then the reverence was about, why are you doing this? And why you're doing it is because you want to do some good and make some change in the world. I had no idea, but see, I grew up in the 60s, so what did I learn? A lot of change is needed, a lot of change.
And where do you see that we need change right now in the medical field?
Well, in the medical field, you have crusaders, people trying to make it better, people who object and who protest. But they fail to see that the system isn't working, that the system is broken down. So at first I wanted to, I did do it. I created new surgeries. I created female reconstructive surgery. I created new medical devices. I created plasma state surgery. So I did these kinds of things to revolutionize. Then I wrote a book, No More Hysterectomies. And
what prompted that book?
I was at Cedars as a resident, and I saw women coming in and out and their organs being taken. I did something that people didn't know about.
What was that?
I went down to the pathology department late at night and I read the papers. And that later became part of a movie. And it was about seeing that not all those operations were needed. And in fact, when I did the work with the NIH, I found that only 4% of the hysterectomies done in the US were necessary.
And how did the medical establishment handle that revelation?
Let's get her on the stake and put on the fires. Let's burn that girl, So it was a learning, but there's one thing that they forgot.
What was that?
The phoenix. If you put the bird in the fire, the bird can get harder and harder and rise more and more. So I've learned to deal with the psychological aspects of social change and what the institutions are. And I even study psychology now to learn about institutional medicine, like who's doing what and the money. So I started the first think tank for medicine and health. So,
wow.
Yeah. And
so is that how the phoenix rose for you?
It rose for me because you can't make social change in a small way. So we have some things going on in the U.S. right now. We have morcellation, which is killing women. And we have FDA hearings and all this stuff going on, but it's not going to change. So I'm taking the case to The Hague. I'm not going to mess around, going to a hearing that's not going to do any good.
So you're going around.
I'm going to go around and go all the way to the top, go to The Hague internationally and present the cases and make national news. So if something doesn't work one way, I think, how can I outdo the RAND Corp? How can I outdo, the people who are not making change? And how do I make change? But people like the Cancer Control Society allow people to have a voice, allow people to exchange ideas. It's a place where people can learn, public can learn, and doctors can get together and talk about, what did they find out? What are they doing? And share that knowledge. So Cancer Control Society has a place in education and in action of medicine.
So we are at the 45th Annual Cancer Control Society Convention. What is cancer control specifically to you?
A place to have a voice and a place to get feedback. A place to integrate skills and share them with others.
Beautiful, so beautifully said. Thank you so much, and it was an absolute pleasure to meet you, Vikki.
Well, thank you so much. And I want you to help me, okay?
I would absolutely.
I want to tell everybody that you're a beautiful woman, and for everybody to know, I was treated so horribly for so long that I got fat and I got diabetes. And so I've got to become that bird that rises again. Thank you.
For anybody that doesn't understand the context, I'm down and have stayed down 115 pounds. And now I have the honor and privilege of getting to work with brilliant and accomplished people that, for whatever reason, have had things go a little astray with their health. And I get to be a part of their journey back to loving the body that God or the universe or whoever or our parents gave us, and to really be at one and at peace with our bodies. So thank you, and it's such an honor to meet you, and I look forward to getting to do some rising with you.
Good, we'll rise from the fires.
Sounds brilliant. Thank you.
You're welcome.